Vacation Voch. Appreciate y'all for being here, man. Tapping in with me. Got some more work for y'all. Some more reactions, man. Just watching these coaches, seeing if I can get anything interesting from them. Trying to see if I can, gather information that's worth talking about. A lot of these are some long videos. And, hey, man, maybe one or two talking points that's worth walking away with. You know what I'm saying? But, leave me to determine that, because sometimes they get out here and ask goofy questions like, hey, what's your favorite cereal? Are you milk first or you cereal first? They'll ask some questions like that, but we'll comb through it. With a fine-tooth comb, we'll comb through it. And we'll get some answers for y'all, all right? Today we got Scott McCurley, Cannon Matthews. I ain't know who the hell Cannon Matthews was. This character right here, I ain't never even seen him before, so he must be a new character. Cannon Matthews, Scott McCurley, and Al Harris today. That's who we're going to be reacting to. All right. Let's start off with McCurley. Get him out the way because I know y'all sick of him. He's your linebackers coach, and he's the one that's dodged the most bullets out of everybody. Now, I wonder what the process, the sun's going away. I wonder what the process is like when it comes down to hiring and firing your coaches, because if you look at your linebacker group, you would say, hey, man, your linebacker group ain't been all that great. I wonder if that's your coaching. But then you look at your linebacker group, be like, hey, man, we ain't really got a whole bunch of linebackers. But then you look at another well-coached linebacker group, and you'll be like, hey, man, well, shit, they ain't got great linebackers, but they play good. They coach is good, right? I just wonder about McCurley and him hanging on by this thread that he's hanging on by. I ain't trying to fire nobody because he getting paid whether he get fired or not, but I'm trying to see something, you feel me? But let's get into it, though. Scott McCurley talking about the numbers in the room, and I do think that's fair because the linebacker room is the one that is empty to start with. Then they just deplete it throughout the season. Like everybody just goes, either we don't value linebacker or those dudes just weren't worth keeping around. They just go play for the Washington Football Wizards or whatever. But here's Scott McCurley talking about the numbers in the linebacker room and how you feel about it.
Oh, it's been great. I think the addition.
Hold on. Let me give y'all some volume. Let me give y'all a little bit of volume there. See if we can hear Scott McCurley. Scott McCurley says it's been great.
Oh, it's been great. I think the addition, talked a little bit more about Eric before. It's been great having Eric in the room. It's great having Demo back, him working out, and then with all the new guys coming in there.
Now, some of y'all need to do, because I bet this could be confusing, because it confuses me sometimes, just, Demo and Damone Clark is two different people. I know we know DeMarvin and Overshown because that's like as long words versus Damone Clark. DeMarvin and Overshown, Damone Clark. I know it's a little different there. But Demo and Damone is two different people. So you got to be careful when you listen to Scott McCurley. But he said Demo.
Marist, of course. And then I really like the young guys that have come into the undrafted, the way they're working and going. So it's exciting having numbers in the room, having competition, and it's going to be a great summer.
I don't think it's a whole bunch of competition in that room. I think everybody got their role already. I think some of y'all starting. I think some of y'all going to be starting next year, and the rest of y'all going to be running around on kickoff. I think, I think the jobs are pretty much declared here. It's not like a room. It's not like the offensive line room where you got a whole bunch of people, that are relatively within the same level of skill. You got all different kind of ranges of skill on this, and a whole bunch of ranges of youth. You know what I mean? There's some older guys, but then there's some better dudes. There's some faster guys. There's some dudes who've been in the system already. So it's a little melting pot of dudes in this room called our linebacking core. But we're going to have to cross that bridge and figure it out because it ain't but a handful of them I feel relatively good about. But here's Coach talking about Marist Liufau. He's one of the young ones here. Let's see what Coach got to say about Marist.
Right now, very exceptional football IQ. Really smart guy. I mean, for as little as we've been able to do on the field right now, he's really excelled, all right, at picking it up in the meeting room, on the walkthroughs, all right, and then the little amount we've been able to get to out there. So really excited about his summer and what he can get to, but he's off to a good start.
Did he cut his hair? Did Marist cut his hair? Because I kind of like the lion shit. You know what I mean? I was looking forward to the big Palomalu lion's mane hair. I was looking forward to that. If he Anything against their religion? That sounds racist. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I guess they culture or something. It sound bad too. But don't his people not like? They don't cut their hair to do it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Sorry.
He's
Somebody
really
don't
excelled, all right, at picking it up in
one of them islands. They don't cut their hair. That's racist. I'm sorry.
the meeting.
I don't know how else to say. I don't know how to say.
All right, and then the little amount we've been able to get to out there. So
don't
really
know what
excited about his summer and what he can get to. But he's off to a good start.
Hey, man, he's off to a good start, man. I like Marist Liufau, too. I think he's a high IQ player also. So if he's showing high IQ at this point in camp, which is, lining people up and getting everybody straight and knowing all the plays or whatever, that's what Zimmer was impressed about. So if that's going to be the case, then cool. Did Scott have anything else to say? Hell no. Okay, cool. He ain't nothing else to say. They asked Scott McCurley about Eric Kendricks, and I think that it was appropriate to ask him about Eric Kendricks because Mike Zimmer, the only one in the room to know the plays. I think Scott McCurley's still learning the plays and shit. You know what I mean? So, Eric Kendricks is the one that got to come in and be the Zimmer whisperer is what I've been calling him. You know what I'm saying? It's brand new for everybody, but it ain't brand new for Eric Kendricks. So he's got to be the guy that come in and be like, hey, man, this means this. This means this. You know what I mean? It's a whole new language for a lot of the people in the room. So to have your green dot guy in the middle of Eric Kendricks is a bona fide green dot guy. All the shit that we said about Overshown, hey, man, it'll be next year for you. All these other characters that's possibly green dot, it'll be next year for you. Marist Liufau, you know everything. It'll be next year for you. Eric Kendricks is 100% green dot guy because he knows what to do. Here's Scott McCurley talking about Eric Kendricks.
No question. I think overall, even for the younger guys in our room, like Damone, like Demo, Buddy, and those guys, I mean, just his influence on him, his calmness, his poise. He's been in this scheme before. All right, he's another voice as a coach within the room to the nuance of the position, the little things that sometimes you can't get from a quick 30-minute meeting. He can talk to him about that outside of the room, on the field. So his presence has been great, and getting to know the young guys and bringing him along. He's just a great piece to have in the room. I mean, he's a great guy, great football player, and excited to have him a part of what we're doing.
Which is important because I'm going to tell you what's about to happen with Eric Kendricks. He's about to come in and bequeath his knowledge to everybody. And once they done, all right, Eric Kendricks has been real, dog. Here's your $38 for the year. Go ahead and get your ass up out of here, dog. It's time to move on with Marist and DeMarvin Overshown. All right. Earlier in this video, Al Harris was talking all that I'm going to be a head coach one day talk. And he is the assistant head coach. He did get the, promotion in order to keep him. So Al Harris ain't going to be here one day. I did declare Al Harris as a like a draft changing resource. I did declare him that because when you watch draft, man, and you watch all these players, what you have to do is you have to declare what situation are they coming into. If you're Malik Neighbors and your quarterback is Daniel Jones, you may have some struggles. If you're Xavier Worthy and your quarterback is Pat Mahomes, it may be a little better for you. If you're Ricky Pearsall and you're in a Shanahan offense, it may be a little better for you. So I think situation matters. I think it's fair to say offensive linemen that are coming to a Duke Manyweather program, they're probably going to be all right. I'm ready to give Duke his money. Can't miss shows. I'm also willing to put on the table, which is why, at some point I'm going to make a video about why moving on from Gilly may not be too horrible of a decision. I think Al Harris is a huge resource in your cornerback room. I think he's a humongous resource in your cornerback room. Now, once you give him talent, I do think he needs talent, though, right? I don't think he's going to take Trayvon Mullen and make him a star or whatever, right? But if you have a player that's relatively talented, then Al Harris can bring a little more out of that player. I think that's important because when you're looking at 5th-round pick Caitlin Carson, you need a coach like Al Harris to fully unlock that potential. You know how like everybody else go go Super Saiyan and shit, but you know what I'm saying, for Krillin and Yamcha and TN, it's simply unlocking potential. You know what I'm saying? You need a guy like Al Harris to unlock potential for these guys. You know what I mean? So I'm willing to put Al Harris in that category as, hey man, he's a valuable asset to our cornerback room. He's not just a coach. Like Scott McCurley could be a coach, but how much is he doing? You know, Mike Solari is a coach, but if you put Mike Solari versus Duke Manyweather, one of them is getting pushed off a bridge. I don't even think you can physically push Duke off a bridge. Yeah, powerlifting and shit, ex-center. I don't think you can physically even push Duke off a bridge. Solari gonna trip and fall off that motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Some coaches just do a little more than others. I'm willing to say that Al Harris is a coach that does a little more than others. Al Harris finally gets 2 all-pro outside corners. Now, chat, y'all can help me figure this out. But I think when Deron Bland was a rookie, of course, Bland wasn't really who he is today. He wasn't an all-pro guy, you know. But Diggs has never had an all-pro on the other side of him. Maybe like one game, the Giants game last year. Maybe the Jets too. But Diggs got hurt, long story short. So Giants and Jets or whatever, right? So Diggs never really had a running mate, you know. What we had was Bland and Gilmore. And, you know, Gilmore was aging, but he was the best corner on the team, and he did shut down Metcalf. But I feel like after Gilmore was your number one corner, I think Jordan Lewis took over as your number one corner, which was interesting, right? There was this long stretch where Jordan Lewis was literally your best corner. It was just a lot on Bland's plate at the time, you know, like Bland, you know, went from playing in the nickel and beating the shit out of people to playing outside corner and breaking records, you know what I'm saying? You know, but when Bland is your number one corner, I think that's different than Bland being your second or third best corner. And one day I think I can make the case about why Gilmore, you know, like aging Gilmore, like it may be cool to move on from him. I think one day I'm going to make that case. Not today, but another day. I'll make that case. But in terms of all-pro talent on the other side of Trey Diggs, I don't think we've seen that. We haven't seen that. Well, shit, I don't think. Anthony Brown, Trayvon Mullen, Xavier Rhodes, Kelvin Joseph and shit. Yeah, Trey hasn't seen the all-pro talent on the other side of him. So I'm just hoping that Trey comes back from the ACL thing, you know, good to go. You know, of course, he'll be better next year than he will be this year, but I'm just hoping that Trey is relatively good to go because now you got a Deron Bland on the other side. So here's Al Harris's thoughts on your damn number 2 corner being an all-pro guy.
Get to see Deron and Diggs playing outside together. This is their first time being outside together. 2 all-pros.
Shit, man. Shit.
I'm sorry, man. Yeah, I'm seriously, man. I'm
Let him cuss.
Up. You know, when you can get guys that you've groomed and coached, mentored, and you see your work on tape, that's all I can ask for as a coach. You know what I mean? To say, hey, look, I'm asking you to do this. I know your job is hard, and to go out and do it. That's all. I'm fired up to see those guys out there together.
The shit, man. Hell yeah, I would love to see my 2 all-pro guys across the field from each other. You know, we haven't seen it. I think the only thing that would step into the way of that is like Diggs' health. You know what I mean? Now, Diggs got hurt very early in the season. We don't want nobody getting hurt. But if you're going to get hurt, you want it to be, man, I don't even never want that motherfucker. I don't never want this to get hurt. But hey, man, if you're going to get hurt, man, get hurt at the beginning of the season. So, you know, you should be relatively fine by camp. Now, I don't think that Diggs is going to do a whole bunch of camp stuff. I do think Diggs is going to practice when we're not looking. You know what I mean? Like in the private practices and like, you know, but I think they're going to work him back slowly. But luckily for us, Diggs is going to be working back relatively slowly. Maybe I should look at the schedule and figure out what wide receivers we're going to be playing. But I think by the time we get to the end of the season, I mean, take a look at like Terrence Steele or something like that. But Terrence Steele got hurt at the end of the season. He was ready to go at the beginning of the season, but he had some rough patches, though. But he was fine by the time we got to the end of it. I think timeline-wise, I think that'll work out for Diggs. But the difference is offensive lineman ACLs ain't like cornerback ACLs. So we'll see how that works out. But the earlier the better. I guess that sounds crazy, but the earlier the better for Diggs here. But we talked about unlocking potential for Krillin and Yamcha and shit. We talk about Kalen Carson, the 5th round rookie here. Here's Al Harris talking about him and his versatility.
Well, it's the more you can do, the more valuable you are in whatever job that is. But I think Kalen can definitely be an inside guy and an outside guy. You definitely don't want to cloud him. We're giving him too much responsibility right now. Mm-hmm. But I think a player with his skill set can do both from the inside and the outside without being overloaded.
Where are you starting him right now in terms of?
Right now he's outside. When you say starting,
where are you getting him? Yes.
Okay, all right. So
yeah.
So we're just saying he'll be lined up on the outside, and we'll work. We're working from there as a staff. Whatever Zim feels, then we'll go from there.
Okay. Outside corner, Kalen Carson. I think he can play both. Shouts out to Will Steele. He was making an argument for him playing inside. Look, I think he can play inside. I think he can definitely play inside. He got some film playing inside. Kalen Carson good to go. But I just think if you look at where your other resources are, like if you look at, I think Bland is just a better interior guy. The motherfucker made all pro at outside corner. I think that's something I got to shut the hell up about. You know what I mean? We can, and all of us really, we can say Bland is a better inside corner. Motherfucker made all pro as an outside guy. You know what I mean? Now, would he make double the all pros if he was a nickel corner? You may have to make some new shit up for him to be a nickel corner. But I think your versatility as a whole, right? If Trey is following somebody, he could play inside. Kalen can play inside. Deron can play inside, probably better inside. Jordan plays inside, right? I think that sets you up to need more help on the outside. Jordan ain't playing outside, so I think it'll just make sense for Kalen Carson to play outside. You know what I mean? But like I said, man, the big training camp battle is Kalen Carson versus Jordan Lewis, and one injury can put somebody in the driver's seat. So we'll see. Also, too, something else, we just got to add to the party is Wanye Thomas came out and said that Eric Scott is a player in this thing. He ain't mentioned Nashawn Wright. He ain't say shit. Wanye ain't say shit about Nashawn Wright, but he did mention Eric Scott. So we do have to look at that second-year surge from him and see what that competition versus Kalen Carson looks like. Both day 3 picks, by the way. So we'll see how that goes. One last one, Cannon Matthews, cat I ain't never heard of, but he had a lot of interesting things to say. He was talking about the cornerback play and how it's going to be a little different this year. He ain't expounded on the too much, but he did mention cornerback play being a little bit different. Let's see what he got to say.
Corners in terms of how they cover, how they are in coverage.
How they cover.
Taking chances but not getting beat.
Taking chances and not getting beat.
Close that balance.
We don't want to give too much of that away. I'm sure Cleveland's watching this, but no, I just think everything's tied into the scheme, right? And so with Zim coming in, there's going to be some things that are different, but fundamentally, Al does an amazing job of taking the film to the field, and those guys come Sunday are prepared and ready for whatever we have as far as a key or anything that week, but it still has to tie into the scheme, right? Because you can't have one guy that's just out there doing his own thing, leaving the other 10 out there. So it's all tied together, but those are what the long hours are for. Find those little nuggets to try to help those guys come Sunday.
I wonder what that means. Because when you come out and say, hey, Cleveland watching, that means you're going to be doing something different, Like if you're doing the same shit, Cleveland been, all right, cool. Cleveland got the film from last year. They can watch and see what we do. That's what we do. We're going to line up and do what we do. But then you say that. You say, hey, man, Cleveland watch, you might be doing some different shit. So what that meant in the context of the question is, I think, and I've heard this just floating around. I don't know where I heard that, but I've heard it floating around. I think Zimmer might have said it too. We're going to break down his shit too. But just the idea of we're not going to be taking as many chances. We're going to try to be a lot more consistent. We're going to try to dial back some of the super plays, right? We're going to try to dial back on some of the takeaways that we're trying to get. You know what I mean? We're going to line up, do our job, we're going to tackle, and we're going to keep everything. We're going to keep everything vanilla, keep everything kosher. You feel me? So in my mind, this whole new idea, the whole new system, the new cornerback play, hey, Cleveland's watching, I ain't going to say too much. I think that's, hey, man, maybe we're going to cut down on taking the ball away. And every year we had this conversation, sacks versus interception, which ones you want. Maybe we're going to move away from taking the ball away a little bit to play more sound coverage and take less chances. Ain't no breaking pick six records. Taking less chances to just be more sound, stop the run, and just help your offense. See, at first we thought helping the offense was, you just getting turnovers, putting them back on the field. Maybe you're finally helping your offense by just being a little more conservative on defense. You ain't got to be the number one defense. Because look, if you're the number one defense in takeaways, but the 15th defense in scoring, or the number one defense in the number 3 defense in sacks or something, you know what I mean? Like, you go get sacks, but you like the number 20th defense in yards given up. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. So maybe this new approach is to even out all the stats. Let me just meet y'all at like 10 or 11. I don't want to be, because look, you could either be number 1 in something and number 30 in another category, or you could just be like a steady 10, 11, 12 and everything. I'll take the steady 10, 11, or 12. All right, that's all I got for y'all today, man. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Got some pretty good stuff here. So I'll let y'all dissect it and break it down. Tell me what you think in the comments, man. Y'all hold it down until next time. Peace.